Hi kids, and welcome back to Figurative Language Practice number 2. So today I've added in a new option for you. Today it's the same thing as yesterday. The directions are to read each sentence and identify the type of figurative language used and to do your best to figure out what you think that it means by using your context clues and your analyzing skills, okay? So I did add a new option. We've got simile, metaphor, personification, idiom, hyperbole, and oxymoron, okay? And please watch the video below this one to review oxymoron if you're having trouble, or if you get to a place where you're not sure. Um, so let's go ahead and get started. So question number 1 says, love is a breach in the walls, a broken gate. So we have love, it seems like being compared to like a hole or a break in a wall or a broken gate. So this is definitely a metaphor because we're not using like or as in this sentence. So you would just write metaphor down below. And we'll think about it. What does love and a break in a wall have in common? What happens when you fall in love? What happens when there's a break in a wall or a broken gate? Things can get in, maybe things that you don't want to be let in, right? Because that's why we put up walls. That's why we put up fences and gates and things to keep things out. Well, when you love someone, you're definitely leaving yourself open to be hurt. You're letting something in that might cause you harm, right? So that might be why someone would make that comparison. Question number 2. Um, so again, good night. I must be cruel to be kind. Thus, bad begins and worse remains behind. Here we have an oxymoron because we've got the words to be cruel and to be kind right next to each other. Well, you can't be those two things at the same time, right? If you're being cruel, that means you're being mean, you're being evil, and being kind, of course, is the opposite. You're being giving, you're being loving. So there are two opposites, and that's what an oxymoron is all about, having two opposites next to each other, describing one another. Um, so what might this mean? How can you be cruel and kind at the same time? Well, it might mean that even the nicest thing that you can do for someone, it can still be seen as mean. So it might be, for example, if you're this is the example I always give kids. For example, telling someone that their husband or wife, girlfriend or boyfriend is cheating on them, right? It seems it's a kindness because you're letting that person know that somebody is hurting them, but it's also cruel in a sense, right? Because it's still causing them harm. Um, but yeah, that again, this is an oxymoron, doing two opposite things at the same time. Number 3, a trumpet vine covered an arbor or a tree, with the red and gold of its blossoms. Red and gold like the brass notes of trumpets. So this is definitely a simile, and it's describing this vine being compared to the notes and sound of a trumpet, right? So what do you think this means? Why would they think about, if you're not sure what a trumpet sounds like, go look it up on YouTube right now, go listen to it. Think about what that means. Why would we compare the red and gold of a vine or a tree to the music of a trumpet, and write that down at the bottom. Number 4, um, I guessed that my friends were just pulling my leg. Well, here we have a sentence that doesn't really make sense. Pulling on someone's leg, what might that's a phrase that definitely doesn't make sense, so it's probably not a metaphor or a simile, because it's not comparing anything. We're not giving something that's not human, something that would be normally given to a human. It's not an exaggeration, and there's no opposites here, so think about what's left after we do some of that elimination, and then tell me, what do you think it means? Okay. Number 5. My words are little jars for you to take and put upon a shelf. Their shapes are quaint and beautiful. They have many pleasant colors and lusters. So it seems like there's a comparison happening here. Words being compared to tiny jars. So that means it's probably a simile or a metaphor. So which one do you think that it is? And what do you think that it means? Why would somebody compare words to jars that you can keep and put on your shelf and they seem beautiful? Why would someone compare words to little jars like that? Number 6. All around the house is the jet black night. It stares through the window pane. It crawls in the corners, hiding from the light. So, what technique do you think is being used here? It seems like the window pane, um, it seems like it's referring to the night, right? This dark night here. So it seems like it's where it's saying that the night is staring through this window pane. It's crawling in the corners. So night is being given, um, is acting almost like an animal, right? So, which, or a person, right? That can stare through windows and crawl into corners and hide from light. Um, so which one does that make sense? Is it an idiom, a simile, a metaphor, personification, hyperbole, or oxymoron? Excuse me. Number 7. My brain is fire, my heart is lead, her soul is flint, and what am I? So it seems like a comparison is being made, the brain to fire, the heart to lead, her soul to flint. Um, so we've got a comparison, so it's probably a simile or metaphor. So why, or a metaphor, which one do you think that it is based on your understanding of both of those terms? And what do you think that it means? Why would someone's brain be like fire, their heart be lead? Um, so what do you think that means? Number 8. The green pasture surrounded by hills was filled with a deafening silence. And I just realized that I need to add oxymoron to our numbers here. And I'm going to do that. There we go. So, the green pasture surrounded by hills that was filled with a deafening silence. So, what technique do you think is being used, and what do you think that it means? Um, he passed by the skin of his teeth, laboring over every question. So, I would actually take 2 different kinds for this one. What do you think that what do you think the technique is, and what do you think that it means? And number 10, now that I am without you, all is empty. All that was once so beautiful is dead. So what type of technique do you think is being used, and what do you think that it means? I feel like I've given you guys a lot of like helps and supports in these 2 activities to kind of get you prepared for something more difficult, which is coming tomorrow. I'll also be reviewing imagery, which is the other thing that you guys requested of me to go over more in depth with you, okay? And I'll be doing that tomorrow. So thanks, guys, for working so hard. I appreciate you. I miss you, and I hope that you are all doing well. If you need any help whatsoever, please feel free to email, message, call, whatever it is, and I'll do my best to be there when you need me. All right, guys, be safe out there. Keep washing your hands.